No, I'm just upset, Mary. I'm just
It's not funny.
Okay, sorry. Okay, firstly, welcome to the Arcade.ie book club. We are, as usual, running way behind schedule, but each time it is no one's fault. Actually, no one's fault. For some reason, the video we had set up for 9 o'clock wouldn't run, and we were there. What's this button do? What's this button do? Mary, get up.
You were that calm. Okay.
Yeah. So we're those people when it comes to this. But we're here, we're live, we are reading Ready Player One, and that was our book for August. So hopefully everybody had a chance to pick it up and had a chance to go through it. Of course, the book club will contain spoilers. We have read the book, we have completed the book, so we will be going through it. If you have not finished it, we will always precursor our major spoilers with spoilers before we get into anything like that. But for those of you who did not read it, Ready Player One is written by Ernest Cline, and if you follow Comic-Con at all, or you read the site at all, then you would have seen that we are getting a movie directed by Steven Spielberg, because apparently everybody is addicted to nostalgia, because that's how you get out new things. You write a book about all the things that were good from your childhood, and you hope to God people pay you for it. So Ready Player One, I'm getting the date, is set in the not so distant future. It's 27 years from now. And we follow the main character, Wade Watts, as he navigates a very, very dark and quite miserable future for human society. We all essentially now live online, and Wade is part of that. He is a huge fanatic for living online. He's going to school, he's doing everything, but his entire world, his entire social circle, all is based online in the Oasis. The creator of the Oasis passes away and leaves essentially a giant Easter egg hunt for everyone in the entire world to take part in, and the winner of which will earn his entire fortune and rights to the company and the Oasis and all that shablam. So in trots our main character, Wade Watts, a shy, bookish, lonely bit of a geek who, he's only out. Actually, yeah, he's only out as the internet and the world that is the Oasis, and the world that the Oasis creator J.D. Hyland has built around it, and he's become completely and utterly embroiled in this Easter egg hunt to essentially find 3 keys and solve Hyland's riddle. Okay.
Holiday.
Holiday. Why do I keep saying Hyland?
It's not holiday either. It's holiday.
Holiday. Oh, Jesus, Holiday.
Get your shit right.
I finished it like 3 weeks ago. Okay, it was painful.
Well, I finished it like 20 minutes ago. Okay, so.
Tendai, when did you finish it?
I don't know. Like as well, maybe like a day or 2 ago.
Okay. So I mean, that was to be fair, I think that was actually a pretty decent synopsis of the book.
Yes, okay, pat on the back. Well done, Declan.
Thank you. I'd like no, I mean, there really isn't much else to the book, is there? Like, can anyone else say that I missed out on anything? I mean,
no, not really. No.
Like you covered pretty much the premise. They fight some corporate baddies. They're pretty much like a group of internet anarchists in a way.
Yeah. The Sixers. Yes,
yeah,
so you have like the evil corporate Sixers, and you have the the kind of the
rebels.
The rebels, the Gunters. You're just like, I don't know. Okay, I suppose from my perspective, I got through the book quite quickly. That doesn't necessarily mean I enjoyed the book. I didn't
enjoy the book.
I didn't actually.
Really?
I didn't hate the book either. I don't hate the book. Before we went live, obviously, 20 minutes late, Tendai and myself were having a bit of a chat, and I hated it. And Tendai was like, well, I was like, oh, wait, hate's a strong word. I didn't actually hate the book. I didn't really enjoy it. It really didn't do anything for me. I thought there were certain things, I mean, yes, the nostalgia is quite nice, and the odd, oh, I know what that's about. That was fine, but that for me just that fizzled out quite quickly. And I mean, the world building, around you, I mean, it's quite a bleak future. It's quite a horrible society in which we live in. I mean, Wade's family home is a stack of mobile homes on top of each other, and I was just like, that's that's terrifying. I just no. But I mean,
But it's really cool though.
You see, this is the thing. There was some things in Cline's in the book that I really did enjoy. Like, I mean, I think he did quite a lot in building it all, but I suppose he spends so much time in the Oasis because that's where Wade or Percival spends his life, and that's what the book's about. But I don't know, was I the only one that was kind of interested in more in what was going on outside of it?
Yeah, I think you're the only one. Yeah, I mean, basically.
Okay, fair enough.
I was kind of like I have to say I was in the middle with both, because I was like, oh, this is great, like what it's like inside the game. But then at the same time, I was like, what the bleep actually happened in the world that this sort of stuff happened? And when he was describing where he was living, like I can have pretty bad vertigo. So I was actually just kind of like feeling a bit woozy. I was like, oh God.
But I think
my worst nightmare.
Well, yeah, heights don't really do it for me either. But I think outside the world, it's kind of just, you just assume that the kind of crisis is going on in the world now has just elevated and progressed 30 years so that the world is just kind of fucked. And you just kind of accept that. I was happy enough not to explore any of that. I mean, I'm not happy the world is fucked.
Yeah, the world's fucked. You just accept it and get on with it.
Listen, they're walling it up right now. I understand why they're spending all their time in there.
No, yeah, I mean, but see, that's kind of, I suppose, I mean, if we'd gotten a chance to explore the Oasis a bit more,
you'd understand why they were so, like, so ingrained in it. Like, that's what I want to know. Like, usually I like to know the reasoning for the action. So if he's like, oh, like most Gunters who spend most of the time in here, I'm like, okay, I want to see how bad your day-to-day life is that you're in this virtual world.
Yes, I mean,
and like he did see hints of that when he described living with his aunt and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, fair enough.
He talks about he briefly touches on his parents. Like we learn a little bit about his mother and father, and like his mom died addicted to drugs. And like, yes, I mean, the whole book, it's all about escapism and you know, and reality, and how we use these things, how we use video games, how we use Japanese cartoons and comic books and, you know, TV shows to escape from a lot of what we have to deal with on a regular life. It's the you know, the miserable trudge to work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, only to go home and go, oh, thank God I've got Game of Thrones on Sunday night. To kind of, you know, it's kind of to pull you out of that. And that, it was really interesting to see that explored a little bit more, because, you know, I mean, obviously, even though we might play video games or we might read comic books because it's an interest, ultimately it is a form of escapism. Even if you don't realize it, you are taking those 15 minutes, those 20 minutes, that hour, 4 hours, 5 hours if you count my Mad Bin marathon there on Saturday. I'm way behind on my TV, and so it's just, I mean, but I don't know, it was kind of, maybe Cline held up a mirror too close to my face, and I was kind of, I really hate this main character. He's so full of shit. He knows everything. I hate him. Crap. So I don't know, maybe.
I totally get what you're coming from. Yeah, God.
I'm going on the internet. No, I just.
But no, yeah, it totally is more reality for these people than actual reality. It's a dangerous kind of thing, because you can see how many people, I mean, when it comes to the PlayStation and stuff, you can spend hours and hours in there. Imagine if you were able to like physically feel like you were walking around in it in the game and whatever. You'd never leave. Like, I mean, let's admit, we all hate our lives. Like, we'd spend our entire life in the Oasis.
I don't know. You see, that's the thing for me, because I was just like, I get why people need to escape, and that level of escapism, considering how shit the world has gotten. I was like, fine, fair enough, I get it. But for me, I was just like I get like, when I play games, there's bursts where I'll like literally play that game and only that game for ages, and then I won't play a game for months, you know? So that whole kind of, he needs to be in it every single day, it just got a bit, it was just kind of like, oh my God, is this actually where, like, I think the thing that scared me the most is the fact that it was really, like, you could actually see this as a possibility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like other future stories, you're like, she's Mad Max, yeah, you know. But then this, I was like, it's become. I was like, in a way, it's almost like the world is kind of getting to that point. You know, there's all these slums everywhere in the world already as it is. Yeah, they just not in more first world countries, so to speak. Yeah. But they already exist for some people, and for some people, that escapism is books in other countries. So I was just like, wow, this is actually probably pretty relatable.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, this could totally happen to a first world country as well, because I mean, you can't do much against the environment, you know, the way it's happening right now. Most people don't care. So this could happen, you know, it totally could. Although we do have the clunky VR goggles right now. They're far away from what's described in the book, like, but.
Well, a few of them were old and clunky, so.
But even then, like, you know, because when he was talking about the gear and stuff that he was using, it felt very much along the line. I mean, it was very, in my head, I was thinking back to the old Nintendo Power Glove. You know what I mean? I think Cline really, I mean, obviously he knows his stuff. I mean, the whole Halliday is very obsessed with the 80s, you know, the era in which he had his childhood, his teenage years, his formative years were based very much in the 80s, and that obviously translates into the Easter egg hunt and the quest and all of that. But I don't know. I can see what I mean. I can see what you're saying in terms of this is where we're. This is a possibility of where we're going. I mean, all you have to do is, I mean, look at VR now. I mean, we had this idea. Oh, VR is it's the next phase of video games, which, you know, it is. But we're also seeing VR for Facebook. You know, in terms of you know, meeting someone halfway across the world in an office space just by putting a headset on, and you're just doing business that way. So yeah, it's a little. I mean, we were discussing escapism and realism there, but the book is. I mean, it was published 6 years ago. So Cline didn't know that, you know, Trump was going to be president, and that VR was going to as develop as much as it has now. So it's a little bit. Is he like the new Nostradamus? Is this where we're going?
Maybe. Like, I thought he was really good at describing the world. Like, I had no problem like visualizing everything he wanted me to visualize, and it was all really, really good. And I know you said that you wanted to explore more of the Oasis, but I thought we kind of nipped about there loads, you know, on the quest and his.
We did, but we only nipped around Halliday's goddamn stuff. I wanted to go to everything else.
Well, that's a good thing. That should be just like, okay, the book map. You want more. You want more from the book, you know?
No, it's too late. It's too late.
And do you know the way at this I don't know if it's on your copy, but the USA Today said it was like enchanting Willy Wonka meets the Matrix. And I thought that was the most stupid way of describing this book ever. When I was kind of going through it, I was like, no, it isn't. But by the very end, I totally got it. You know, with Halliday appearing to him and being just like, it's all up to you now. I leave you everything. Please do good with things. Do you know, like at the end with the gobstopper and shit.
Yeah.
You know.
They're at the end of that lovely heartwarming children's story, the gobstopper and shit.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean?
I think that's actually that's how they finished the book. Willie and Charlie the gobstopper and shit, and that's it.
But now that I'm at the end of this, though, that is a really good way to describe this book. It's a really good way to describe this book. Yeah. So in a way, I kind of went into it thinking, oh, no. But then at the end, it's like, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
That sounded like complete nonsense. But
we've talked a little bit about, you know, the plot and the themes throughout, but we haven't really gotten into the characters.
Right. Let's start with Wade.
Yeah, the main character. So you've Wade in the real world, and then online he is Percival.
Yeah.
He's Percival because obviously, you know, it's so hard to get an online name, but he's modeling his online identity after Percival and Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
So Wade's our main character, and he is a gunter, a self-proclaimed gunter. So it's someone who has become obsessed with Halliday's quest to find the 3 keys.
And the word comes from egg hunter, and it's shortened to gun. I thought that was cool. Clearly nobody else thought it was cool. Anyway, whatever.
So, okay, did anyone like Wade / Percival, or did people dislike him? Did people find him?
Well, I liked him.
See a lot of stuff in him?
I liked him until he started talking. You know, in the basement. You know, when he was with all the other ones, and they were being really cheesy and really typical, like you know, nerdy 14-year-old kind of, and I know he's meant to be like 17 or 18 or something, and it just seems really juvenile. All of his language just seems so cheesy. I was like cringing. And in fact, during that whole season, the first time I put it down and like left it for like 2 weeks because I just couldn't even get through those pages. It was so shaming. I was so shamed for him, and he's a fictional character. Do you know? It was such a
I suppose on that, if you look at Wade, right, he is someone completely immersed in this, let's say, retro pop culture. It's you know, it's not even, it's nostalgia overload. So
lifestyle.
Yeah, it's his lifestyle, and that's his social circle. They all live in that. So I'm not saying it's not annoying, but if you take yourself out of the book, right, and put yourself into a situation where you're now we're obsessed with sports, so they're going to be gearheads. They're going to be thinking about use language around that, and they're going to have their own. So Wade, that's. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I did find it a little bit like.
No, I totally get it. Like, it was really realistic, but that was why it was so cringe. Because I'm pretty sure I've had those same conversations, you know, and it just makes me, you know, so embarrassed of the way I used to be, you know. It is really.
Like you're at a convention and you're like, wow, at least I'm not that nerdy. You're like, no, you're at the exact same event. You were wearing a cosplay. You are just as nerdy. Get over yourself.
Queen of the nerds.
Queen. So, what was your favorite character in Naruto, Mary?
Oh, shut up! Oh.
No, it's.
Besides that, I embraced the whole cheesy thing because once I decided to pick it up and actually finish it for book club, I was like, right, I'm going to commit to this shit, you know, cringe aside. And I really did enjoy it then, enjoying it for what it was, all the cheese, you know, I liked it in the end. And I liked Wade in the end as well. I was rooting for him. I
suppose for me, I found Wade quite bland. In amongst it all, like there were certain things I was like, oh wow, I do that, like I'm that person. And then there were elements to his character that I was like, oh, this is for me. There were traits in Wade that I was like, this is what I would look at as kind of being, you know, it's the elitism within kind of geek culture that really kind of irks me a small bit.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
He was in class one day and the teacher made a mistake, you know, based on learning material, and I was like, well, actually they're incorrect, but I'm not going to put up my hand and say because I'm just tired of having all the right answers.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, no, like, seriously, come on.
But he didn't put up his hand.
That's what I mean, but he has an internal monologue where he goes, I could put up my hand and I could give the answer, but I'm tired of giving the answer. And so it's like, dude, come on, like. I don't know. For me,
the one thing he's good at, Declan. The one thing he's got going, and you want to take it away from him. Come on.
Yeah, do Mary. Yeah, you ought to shut that down.
Like Harry Potter, but he has a worse life. In the trailer, in his wee corner, what was it beside the washing machine or something? Pet.
He was, yeah. Smelled like soap churches. Tendai, before we go on to the supporting characters, did you have anything to say on Wade or?
You know what? Wade felt almost like a copy and paste idea of a geek. Like, it literally just felt like copy and paste idea of a geek. Like, the way he described himself, he was like, oh, I'm not that good looking, you know, I'm kind of overweight. Most girls find me repulsive. And then he's like, oh, I've been fawning over this girl online for like fucking years. And it's like, somebody was almost like, okay, how can we make this guy relatable, but also alienate him from other people?
He's like your average geek.
I don't even then. I don't think so. Like he's like the stereotypical geek that people imagine when they think as big uber super nerd. That's what I felt, and that to me felt a bit transparent. Like it would have been more interesting if, Jesus Christ, if the dude was a bodybuilder or something. You know, that would have been like, oh, that's interesting. But no, like they had to do it in that way that this underdog would be the one to kind of rise above it all. And like he did have his moments, like Declan said, where he was like, oh, I do know the right thing, but I'm not going to say anything about it. And it's like, but you literally said something about it by saying you're not going to say anything about it though.
I don't think all geeks are like that, right? But all geeks have been like him at one point in their lives.
Yes. And that's what I was saying earlier on about, you know, Cline kind of holding up that mirror.
Yeah.
If you're reading Ready Player One and you identify as someone in geek culture, like, so if you identify someone who appreciates, and you know, I mean, all you have to do is look at the room around me, like it's artwork and everything. So obviously I'm not gonna. I mean, I've got World of Warcraft figures behind me.
Yeah. You know, everybody's had those moments where they're like either gaming with one hand in a bag of Cheetos and the other on the controller, you know, or you know, spending their 3 days in a row playing something or binge watching. You can see, you know, it is so true. Like Wade as a character reminds me of every geeky person I've ever met in my life.
But
they've all been like that at some point. And it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just, I think, I suppose for me, as someone who's coming at this as someone who, you know, lives and breathes this stuff, Wade felt very much like Tendai had said, a copy paste job. I would have liked. So for someone coming at this who, you know, who likes reading a bit of science fiction, is into a bit of gaming, but you know, this isn't. They just like to read, and they were recommended the book, and they're not really big into their 80s. They're not really big into their gaming. They're not really big, they just want to read the book.
Yeah.
They're going to go, oh yeah, that's who he is, and you can think. But for someone who can see himself in Wade and sees his friends in Wade and vice versa, it's a little bit like he could have been fleshed out a little bit more. And the same, I will say, because we spent quite a bit of time talking about Wade, I would say the same thing for the supporting cast.
Yes. H especially. I would have loved to see more of it.
That was the thing. I mean, you have H, you have Artemis, you have
Toto.
Yes, and his brother Kaito.
Daito.
Yeah.
So they're the other four main gunters that kind of make up the
high five.
Yes, the high five. And then you have what's our villain's name?
Sorrento.
Yes.
Sorrento.
Nolan.
Yeah. And like, does he? I mean, Sorrento's meant to embody, you know, the evil corporation and all that, but it never. I never really felt threatened by them. I never really felt they're going to come in and they're going to ruin the Oasis for. I didn't.
You never felt threatened by Sorrento?
No.
After they blew up his house and his aunt, and then Daiko out a goddamn window.
Well, I'm still there. I've been there. I've been through that. I'm done. No, I didn't. I mean, obviously, yes, I got that he's the bad guy, and you know, he represents all that's wrong with corporations and wanting to take over the Oasis. I got that. I'm not saying I was like, oh, where's the bad guy in this? I get it. He's the bad guy. I just it didn't. The threat wasn't very threatening for me. It was, yes, you know, watch your back and he had to change his name and all that. But it just, Wade made it all so like, I have to change my name and I have to do all these. It was like, he made it all sound too easy. It was like, oh, I went on the dark net basically and I bought, it was like, you know, and you're like, okay, and then I'm done.
Yeah, like Wade had some serious protagonist powers in terms of what he could fucking do. It's like,
like he had cheat codes for everything essentially. Like,
yeah, like one minute he's like, oh, I'm really good at like with this, but in the real world I don't, like, I'm not really that great. And then all of a sudden he's like buying passwords and hacking into like this big corporation. Like, and how shit is their firewall anyway? So, and it's like doing all these things, and then you're just like, how, like, if anybody had been in this situation, would they have been able to come up with a plan like that quickly?
That wasn't serious. That was Shawshank shit.
That was some legit. That was magic. That was like borderline magic. You're just like, how? But then at the same time, you're kind of rooting for him, that you kind of like overlook it. But
yeah,
Sorrento, I felt the threat of Sorrento was he wasn't that big bad, you know, scary, obviously scary man. He seemed like just somebody who worked as part of the company. But that was the threatening aspect of him. He's like, he's relatable too.
I thought he was totally scary. Like, he was like, all his reaction to blowing up a trailer full of dozens of people was a sad shake of the head and calling the kid Wade stupid. But he had no problem pushing that button. He's not just an employee. He is a hardcore evil bitch.
No, he is an evil bitch, but at the same time, he's being an evil bitch for evil, like for more evil people. Like, he is literally their lapdog. But at the same time, I felt like Sorrento at heart would have been a gunter in a different life.
Yeah. I think
he just,
I mean,
in a different life, but sure, we could give those passes to everybody.
but I mean, if you think about it, Sorrento kind of embodies that idea of, you know, he was the face of a faceless corporation, right? And his whole character, like Mary was saying, yeah, he had no qualms of pushing that button, and it's that disconnect. Like, that's what I think Sorrento really emphasizes. I mean, this is the guy that he's living in the Oasis as well. He works for the Oasis. His entire life is the Oasis and the Easter egg hunt, and working for, was it IOI
in the
or 101, whatever way you want to go with it. But
Uology
he's the true emphasis for disembodiment. I mean, he was able to push that button in the real world and take away so many lives in an instant.
Yeah,
and there is that to it, but it never really carries through for me. Like I suppose like Tendai said, he never really, like, as the big bad. It's just, I don't know, it just wasn't there for me.
One-dimensional villain, pretty much. Like, he's bad through and through. There's no sort of redeeming qualities about him. You're just
I'm not even looking for something redeeming from him. I'm looking for something kind of human from him, or even, cyberhuman from him. But there's just nothing.
But it wasn't even him that was like the big baddie. It was the company itself that wanted to take over the Oasis, charge people money for it. It would be kind of like in the real world if somebody, it's like, the whole freedom on the internet kind of thing, and there were all those bills and shit at that time. It'd be kind of like that, and people were genuinely scared of that the internet wouldn't be this free, lovely place or whatever. It's kind of like that in the Oasis, It makes you terrified because it's like the last little emblem of freedom that any of these people have, and that could be destroyed by these assholes cheating and getting ahead and taking it all away.
I get that. I got all that. I'm not saying, this is obviously, the Oasis is, the Oasis, if you think literally what it is, it's a drop in the middle of the desert. So it's the last kind of, it's the last kind of pit stop of hope. So I got all that. It just didn't connect for me, and Sorrento didn't connect it for me. And I just, to be honest with you, I will say the same thing for the rest of the supporting cast. We mentioned them, like, H is meant to be, and I did find, again, there is spoilers here, so, or if anyone's been watching and haven't finished it yet, you may want to just click away for a little while or mute this, because, and again, I'm going to say it, there is spoilers coming up ahead.
I think we've said worse spoilers so far, to be honest.
No, we haven't.
I told the ending.
Yeah, Mary, it's a bloody.
Oh, yeah, I actually did.
People are fussy about
it. Okay, well, spoilers for that as well. But essentially, so yeah, the H's reveal about, H is Wade's best friend in the Oasis, and they've had a long kind of standing friendship, and it's kind of seen Wade through tough times and H through tough times, and they all hang out in H's basement, which is like an online chat, like an online private chat room that H created, and they're friends, but they've kind of got a good kind of healthy competitive friendship between them. And then towards the end of the book, as it all kind of starts to ramp up, and for the record, I'm getting back to that because the pacing is quite as well for this book. But Mary, Mary, I can see your face. Remember, you're on camera. I can see your face.
Whatever.
So H is revealed then as to who H really, again, so another viewer has just joined us, so there's spoilers about to come up, and I'm kind of anxious. But when H is revealed to be an African-American woman who's been driving around in her van, avoiding capture, and just life, as a white man on the internet, they need to get a job, to get work. Wow, I was just like, okay, Cline, can we spend the next 3 chapters discussing H and her life and her world and everything that this is? Oh wait, no, we're going to do it in 2 paragraphs, and that's it. Get over it. Get on.
I know.
So
sorry.
Go on, Mary. Mary's got to say something here tonight, so you may want to mute.
I am so not. I thought that was so cool. I wanted to see more of H. I loved H.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay. Apart from the part at the start where they were all chatting like morons in that basement group, and I quit for a while. After that, I really wanted H. I thought, well, at the time I thought it was a he. I thought he was the coolest thing ever. But it was very cool. I did not expect that coming. I knew that H was like getting away with things because he was like in a van or a camper van, and that's how he was getting around and no one could find him. Did not expect him to be an African American woman.
No, like that twist, it was kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then as soon as that happened, it's all, you know what, it's actually really bad because I was just like, yeah, I was like, I know the feeling. And then I felt really awful. I was like, wow, this is really, really bad that I'm just like, yeah, I know why you probably did it. And I know people who had to do it in terms of, like, let's say applying for jobs, instead of using their own maiden last name, they'd use their married name. Whereas on everything else, they just go by their maiden name because it's easier to get hired with a more English or Irish sounding last name than an African name. So I was just like, yeah, I can imagine in a world where, like, how people see you is how they approach you and treat you, that you get very far being a white man. That is literally world history everywhere. So that I was just like, okay, I see why. I wish they had explained it more. Like 2 paragraphs is not enough for something like that. And the fact that it was still happening, I was just like, damn, there's no hope for humanity.
The future is really depressing.
Well,
no,
it's not that interesting.
Well, see, for me, I mean, when Percival and H meet, and I quite liked that because, I mean, if you've ever, we've all made friends online, and so occasionally we've gotten to meet those people in real life, and there is that trepidation of, oh crap, I'm someone that's been a fantastic friend to me for the last 3 years. I've told them some of my hardest stories. I've shared an awful lot of my life with them. So I genuinely felt that. I was like, oh wow, this is, and then the reveal, and then, because I mean, Wade even says he goes, I'm shocked, and then H, not that she has to explain herself. I don't think she's explaining herself to him and why. Like, it was, he just got it.
But the thing about Wade's reaction initially, he was like, oh my god, this crushing betrayal, and I was like, fuck your feelings. How do you think she fucking feels? She's been catfishing you for like that. And then she's like,
you've been catfished.
And then she's sitting there, she's like, oh god, this guy thinks I'm some white dude and he's gonna walk in here and it's some like African American girl. And she's probably just like when she was just kind of looking
surprised though. One he met, except Artemis looked completely different from their avatar, and I thought it was so endearing as well. Artemis and her whole, how she thought she was revolting and that she didn't look anything like her avatar, even though the only difference really was her birthmark on her face, and that
was it.
It was cool because, like, through so little, details and stuff, you could get such an idea of her. Like when that was revealed at the end, I was like, Artemis, oh my god, she's so pretty.
I suppose, yeah. When you think about it, right? Even to be fair, even Wade did. We changed his appearance slightly. He was a little bit more kind of athletic than he was when we first meet him. All of the characters have, for the most part, altered their appearance online, and it kind of begs the question that if the Oasis was real tomorrow, and that's that was one of the big selling points, that you can be who you want to be, what you want to be, where you want to be in the Oasis. So, because we have a few questions from people watching as well, and people who read the book, but I just want to pose this kind of question, and if anybody is watching and wants to read along, I'd love your insights as well, just to see what you think. But if the Oasis was here right now and you had the option to create an avatar, would you go down the route of creating, this is who I am, this is me, my 5'5", thin blonde hair, chubby little mess, or would you make yourself taller and handsomer?
Yeah, I for one be a white dude.
We can swap.
It's a good choice.
Give me your face.
Like, if, to be honest, if the Oasis was real, like anytime I ever play a game and I get to create a character, I always make them female. I always give them my own complexion, I try and give them as much of my face structure as possible, which is difficult because I have serious moon face. And then I give myself, like, I actually try and make myself more realistic in terms of body size. I'm not a skinny mini. I'm not super thin. But at the same time, I'm not really big. So I try and find myself in the middle somewhere. And if I can make myself short, I make myself short. And then when it comes to hair, that's when I tend to go a bit left. I go with white hair. I love having white hair or blonde hair or some colored hair. But whatever I get, I get. But I try and be, like, I always try and be true to myself online. So what you see is what you get in person and online, you know? But I know people who would be like, oh my God, I'm so going to be a bloody orc. You will not recognize me. I'll have purple skin and scales. Go for it. Because that isn't, like, I love the beauty of virtual reality. Like, you can be whoever you want to be online. You're not catfishing people.
Yeah, that's.
To be fair, I mean, we can all do that right now. We can all turn around and set up fake Facebook accounts. You know, find a picture of someone, you know, that doesn't look like us that we want to look like, and set up a Facebook account. I mean, the Oasis just takes it to the next level. It is, you can physically. I mean, obviously you have to log in as yourself, and you have an ID linked to that. But you can, let's say, metaphysically be something else. Mary, were you going to be all honest and like, I'm Mary, I'm perfect, I'm beautiful, look at me, you're going to love me?
No. If I have the option to look like Angelina Jolie, I will take it. I've gone the route of, like, in The Sims, trying to make them look really like me, and then I'll look at it and be just like, no. So I just change, like, everything. I'll just make myself look a damn movie star, and that'll be my avatar. No one will know what I look like.
So you'd pull an H?
I'd pull an H. Hardcore pull an H, yeah.
I think I would as well. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would make myself tall. I think. Hey, look, I'm a white dude. I mean,
can't get more people than that, really, can you?
Yeah. Like, I just hand over the keys to everything, please. But no, I mean, like, I would. I'd probably go for more of an elf thing. I want little elf ears because I got small little ears. They make me a little more pointy, and yeah, I'd be more graceful.
Vulcan.
What?
A Vulcan.
No, an elf.
I'd like the whole kind of Vulcan thing, especially the brows. Yeah. Those brows are fly.
Super elegant.
We've had a few questions, and someone actually remarks in the someone remarked in the comments that actually we've had a few people commenting on about, you know, the appearance. Mr. Addy says that I would make myself outrageously awesome. It's kind of like a form of expressionism, and I suppose it is, because you can be yourself online. You can be your real self if you wish. You can obviously play up to something if you want, but yeah, it's definitely a form of self-expressionism. Snakeskin 84. I definitely alter my appearance. It's not just about expressionism; it's about covering our insecurities, and that I would agree with.
Yeah.
We all use social media to kind of paint this, oh, my life is perfect, you know, I do a million things, here's my lovely cocktail that I'm having, you know, and it's not that it's my 6th cocktail, it's not that I had a crappy day, but look, this beautiful cocktail that I can pay for, that I really wish I had 10 more of. And I'm off to a party with my family, who we're not talking right now because, you know, I said something mean to my sister or whatever, you know what I mean? Like this one.
Personal hero. What's going on?
I have no sisters, it's fine. That's why I said sister, I have no sisters. I mean, so yeah, I would agree that there is that twinge of covering up insecurities, that we all have. This kind of, this is who I am, and this is who I want to be, and this is what I look like. So, if you can, then why not?
Yeah, if you can airbrush away, you know, what your perceived flaws are, like
all your many flaws.
Oh God, you're not getting something from me. But no, but seriously, if you even went the route of looking like the way you do, no one is gonna, like, add in what their flaws are. No one's going to give themselves acne on their avatar and shit. Like, you are going to airbrush it out. And it totally
like, you will, like, change yourself to a degree. Like, personally, for me, why I choose to look like myself, in a lot of games I play, the default characters are typically male and white, which is something I can't relate to on a are you yeah, no, my inner
your inner white male.
My inner white male. But yeah, it's just things like that. Like for years, I was told that me as myself was never good enough. So now, when I do get a chance, I'm like, that's going to be me. Like I will look like me. So it's a case of it's kind of like a big fuck you to people. It's awful.
See,
that's kind of how I go about it. Yeah, I would like my face would be airbrushed and shit like that. I might give myself like Vulcan brows, some pointy ears, white hair, but at my essence, I'm still trying to represent who I am as a black woman.
But I think everybody in the Oasis was doing that anyway. I mean, it's just it was that idea, you know, from people who are looking in at this world, and you're kind of going, oh, is it shallow? Is it covering up insecurities? Is it expressionism? So it was just kind of, being perfectly frank with you, I tend to follow Tendai, especially in games where you can create your own character, where you can, you know, in like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, where you can create the person that you want to play, all within this framed identity of, you know, the shepherd or an apostate or whatever it is that the game narrative follows. So I kind of go for a little bit leaner, I've started playing, to be fair, I have started creating characters who reflect my body type a little bit more, where possible I can. But I always go for like a dude with like kind of a blonde mohawk and usually a bit of a beard. And if the game allows you to have a same-sex relationship, I will play a man. If you can't have a same-sex relationship, I'm playing fucking Lord of the Rings female elf bitch, you know, who shoots magic out of her hands. I'm still going to be playing that as a male, but if I can't have a boyfriend or a husband in the game, then it's going to be about me being, you know, freaking Galadriel. So,
do you know, we actually haven't even talked about the actual guts of the story, which is the gates and the keys and shit.
And that's what I wanted to say. Someone asked in the comments about how did we find all the. I suppose Ray over on Facebook asked us about the 80s nostalgia, because that's the big hook for the book. It's all this kind of the resurgence of kind of nostalgia and clinging to our childhoods and all that kind of stuff. So that's what Ray asked. How did we find the 80s nostalgia? Did we enjoy it? So Mary, do you want to take that one?
Well, I'll take the riddle first, because the very first riddle, I totally got Tomb of Horrors straight away from that riddle, and I am not even a gamer. And it took Wade and everybody like 5 years to figure that out, really. Like, that was like really easy, and I think it was kind of a problem on the author's part that he was making that out to be like this thing, and it was like a eureka moment. I was like, really though? You know, I mean, I got that in like 2 seconds.
Mary's referring to the
riddle of the...
That's the copper key awaits explorers in a tomb filled with horrors, but you have to learn if you hope to earn a place among the high scorers. And obviously, referencing, as Mary said, the Dungeons and Dragons Tomb of Horrors, and it took people ages to try and figure, you know, to grasp that. Years to figure that out. And like the minute they figured the Tomb of Horrors game bit out, he figured everything else out. So that was the key, the name of the game. And that was the immediately thing that came to mind. To someone who like immersed himself so much into this pop culture, how would that not be the first thing he'd think of? That's what I
considering you.
It's almost, if you think
Hunter, like, and then you're like.
But I suppose what they were saying was the issue with that particular riddle was more like the lines of how many games, how many stories, how many comics, how many books, how many shows, how many cartoons have referenced the Tomb of Horrors.
But the actual game Tomb of Horrors, would that not be like number one? It shouldn't take you 5 years.
Well, see, it wasn't even a game, it was like kind of a subsection of a game. So it was
like a thingy.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but it was just I suppose it was the trick was where, so even if you'd figured out that it's referencing the Tomb of Horrors, it was where is it then located? That was
but with the rest of his pop culture knowledge, he was able to figure that out. But the thing that stumped him for ages, the thing that got everything that fall into place, like Tetris, was like the Tomb of Horrors title. That's what got everything to fall into place. If he'd had that at first, he would have figured it out straight away. You know? Anyway, moving past that fiasco. The other riddles were I wouldn't have figured them out. The other riddles were hard.
Yeah, the other riddles were pretty difficult.
Except for the Captain Crunch bit. Anytime I see Captain Anything, I immediately think Captain Crunch.
That was the first. That was the first. I didn't get the Tomb of Horrors, by the way, and I played Dungeons and Dragons, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, Jesus.
Mary, a giant nerd. But I did get the Captain Crunch, and it was just, I don't know why, but it was, oh, cereal. It was the first thing I thought of. I was like,
yeah, Captain Crunch. You know, we don't even eat it here.
Yeah, we don't even get it here. Stupid American ads getting into our brain.
But Captain Crunch and then the whistle, I was just thinking cereal with toys inside, and then I was like, it has to be.
That's where I went as well. And
I wasn't even.
Yeah, so that was the captain conceals the jade key in a dwelling long neglected, but you can only blow the whistle once the trophies are all collected.
The dwelling that was hard as shit. Like that could have been anything. It could have been anything. I don't even know how. Who figured it out first, Artemis or H? Oh, H gave them the clue, but I don't know how they figured that out. It'd be crazy.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a case of, I was like, Captain Crunch, and then when they said whistle, I was like, obviously you're getting the whistle probably from Captain Crunch. So I was just like, oh, it's probably the cereal. But the house, I was just like, I don't know. No idea. Yeah.
Well, the 80s nostalgia in general, though, was really cool. Like, I mean, I wasn't born in the 80s. I don't really know, you know, all I really know about it is what I've seen in American movies and, you know, your general stuff that you know about it. But a lot of it went over my head.
I was 4. I mean, by the time I was born in 1986, so I didn't really, I didn't live through the 80s. I don't know anything from it. The only thing I remember from the 80s is Cyndi Lauper, and that's just mad glances, and a lot of the older cartoons. But again, I don't remember sitting down to watch them. I just remember them. So yeah.
Well, yeah, but like you could get. I mean, most of the references in the book I got, but there were some that I just, you know, I had no notion. You know, I just think it was okay, part of the book, one of the 80s thingy-mabobbies. You know, by the end of it, I wasn't even trying to decipher the codes or whatever. I was just along for the ride.
You were reading them for the story then.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But I did enjoy overall. I did enjoy it. I hated it for a while between like chapter 4 to like 7, and then after that, I really got into it. So I was glad I read it. I wish I could have given myself like a punch in the face a few weeks ago and told to read it like over a proper period of time, because I read it like 300 pages in the past few days, which was not a good idea.
Tendai, what did you think overall? We'll do our scores.
Overall, to be honest, it was not the worst book I've ever read. To be honest, it's just not. It's not really a book I would have picked up on my own. So I tend to read a lot more fantasy. So I was expecting, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just naturally biased now, but I was just like it was okay. Like I read it, it was fine. I know people who would enjoy it far more than I would, and I've recommended the book to them. But I've given them a bit of a warning that it might not be an easy read at the beginning. But it actually does make me kind of optimistic for the movie, because he was so detailed in describing the world. I'm like, if they mess up this movie, you literally have everything you need in that book. If they mess it up, this is going to be like, there's no excuse for it.
Yeah, it's all described to a T. Like.
Yeah, but I do have a point to make. We didn't really talk much about Daito and Shoto.
Who? Oh, shit, yeah.
No, to be fair, they crop up really 3 times in the book. And
they're meant to be part of that high five, but they don't get the same amount of showtime as the other 3. Like,
yes.
One of them got like lobbed off a balcony.
Yeah, that was awful.
But did they really do anything that affected the story whatsoever? Like, if you lifted them,
handing over the robot, that was about it. And you could that
was to help Shoto get out. You know, that wasn't helping Wade. So if you took out the book, nothing really would have changed, would it?
No, but Wade did get the robot when Shoto after Daito died.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, they went on the quest together, and he got the thingamabob. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, but like that again, it felt very much. And see, this is, I suppose, if I was to sum it up, I think Tendai said again what I wanted to say in terms of I didn't hate the book at all. I'm not going to read it again. It's not one of those that I'm going to read it 6 more times just to get a good feel of it. No, I'm done with it. I think Tendai touched on it, and when I mentioned it to a few people I knew that was the book that we were reading this month, a lot of people said the same thing as well, that stick with it to the first couple of chapters and then it really picks up.
Yeah.
And that's actually true. It does start, and people say, oh, books start slow. No, they don't. Not all books start slow. Ready Player One does kind of start very like, and then there's it just drums along, and then bang, you're into the middle of it. And the pacing worked and it didn't work for me. Obviously, the pacing was to do with how close they were getting to each riddle, and how they solved the first and then the second and the third, and it's done very like and the hunt became more and more active, and as more people joined the scoreboard. So I got that. For me, for the book, it again, the same way with Sorrento as the big bad and the IOI as the big bad, I just didn't connect with it. So towards the end, it all felt a little bit very rushed for me, and not in a good sense, not in the sense that we were meant to get that this is fast, this is that we need to do this now. The book felt rushed. So in terms of a score out of 5, so we rank it. We've been ranking our books out of 5. So
you keep a record of that, actually.
Well, actually, the Long Way to a Small Angry Planet it's definitely the
highest ranking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a solid 5, wasn't it?
I'm gonna, because I didn't hate it and I didn't like it, I'm gonna give Ready Player One 2.5.
That's almost as bad as Daughter Smoking Bun.
What did I give that 2? 1? I think I gave that 1, Mary.
Did you give that 1?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, Jesus, your taste in books.
It's obviously so much better than yours. Come on, ratings, come on.
Okay. Right. I really liked it, but I found it a few problems, and I probably wouldn't read it again. So, but I am excited for the movie. I would give it 3.5.
Okay, and I enjoyed parts of it. Other parts I didn't, but I would give it a 3.
Oh my god. Okay, so 2.5, 3.5.
Well, I thought I was being too generous with my other ratings, so I figure, is it really a 4-star book?
No, I think yeah, because it's like, I think that does kind of sum up how we all kind of felt. It's not a bad book. It's just not one of those everybody has to rush out and buy it.
No, definitely not.
I think if you want to wait for the movie, and I hate saying that, wait for the movie. If you want to wait for the movie, I think the book will translate very well on screen. It's one of those things where it just should work. They have the material. It's all there. It
wouldn't have worked 15 years ago, but we have the CGI now that this would work.
Yeah,
really
for sure.
So, in terms of so I mean that was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed reading. And I mean, I didn't necessarily enjoy the book, but I hope you enjoyed engaging with it. And thanks so much to everybody who tuned in this evening and gave us their questions and gave us their feedback. I really enjoyed it, because it was great to see so many people just chiming in. Mr. Addy hasn't read it, but he's giving our live stream 5 stars, which is super generous.
Oh,
considering we started 22 minutes late. Mary, you have picked September's book, so do you want to introduce the book for September? And I'm sorry, I'm super stoked for this one. I'm super stoked.
Oh Jesus, I actually don't know anything about the book, but I do know the name of the book, so you can go and look on Goodreads about it. I didn't think, okay? I just knew it. I thought, whatever. Anyway, it's Leo Bardugo's Wonder Woman book, Warbringer. It was just released now. I actually thought it would be released a lot sooner, because the film was 2 months ago now. But anyway, it looks really, really good. Go look on Goodreads to find the plot, because I actually don't know what it is, but we're very excited.
Yeah, that's our book. What? Sorry, I got distracted. I was reading about the book. I was like, oh yeah, we're on. So that was the book club for August, and as I said, we were reading Ready Player One. If you haven't finished it, do try and get to it. It is an end.
Don't even pretend.
No, like I said, hopefully you guys will pick Warbringer, as Mary mentioned, by Leigh Bardugo.
Leigh Bardugo. She wrote Six of Crows, which is one of the best series ever. So also by that.
So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting book. I've ordered my copy, so hopefully I'll get it in the next week or two. So looking forward to it, and we will see you guys for the next book club.
Yes.
Bye.
Right. Have a good evening. This is a really awkward. I'm just gonna end.
Okay.